Star Wars Battlefront 2 single-player trailer 0135 as we gear up for another Star Wars Christmas with the release of Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi. Video game fans of the Force will be getting their own spiffy sequel to enjoy. Battlefront 2 is the sequel to DICE's 2015 multiplayer shooter, a fun and fizzy reboot of the original Star Wars Battlefront games of the mid-2000s. Players waged war with each other across vast maps based on famous series locations, taking down thundering AT-ATs on Hoth, trading laser fire in the jungles of Endor, or dogfighting in X-Wings over the deserts of Tatooine. Aside from Battle of Jakku and Battle of Scarif, add-ons that tied into The Force Awakens and Rogue One respectively, Battlefront focused on the original trilogy. Battlefront 2 widens its net for its multiplayer, drawing on characters and locales from across the whole saga. And it adds an intriguing single-player campaign. There is a multiplayer beta currently running, giving players the chance to sample the game's competitive delights ahead of release. And much to the delight of fans enjoying the game, EA has announced the beta will be extended until Wednesday. Here is everything we know so far about Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2 will release on the 17th of November 2017 for PS4, Xbox One and PC. The release date is exactly 2 years after Star Wars Battlefront launched and just under a month before The Last Jedi arrives in cinemas. Yes, following the latest trailer for Star Wars The Last Jedi, it was announced that Star Wars Battlefront 2 would be getting free content inspired by the film in December, so there is single player this time. Yes, one of the criticisms of 2015's Battlefront was the lack of a fully fledged single player campaign, and not only has this been rectified for Battlefront 2, but it was front and center of the game's first reveal. It looks really interesting too. Star Wars Battlefront 2 single-player trailer 0135. The campaign is set immediately after the events of Return of the Jedi, serving as a small bridge between the original trilogy and The Force Awakens. LucasArts has worked closely with DICE and EA on the narrative, making it official Star Wars canon. So what's the story? This is the interesting part. You get to play as one of the bad guys. The main narrative follows Iden Versio, Imperial commander and crack fighter pilot. Iden is fighting rebel scum on Endor when she sees the second Death Star blown to smithereens in the sky above. She escapes and vows revenge on the Alliance for the death of her Emperor, exploring an ideology that sees the Galactic Empire put on a pedestal, rather than seen as the evil of the galaxy. Iden Versio, Imperial commander and crack TIE fighter pilot, is the protagonist of Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign. Mainstream Star Wars has traditionally taken the viewpoint of good v evil, Jedi v Sith, Rebels v Empire, but a fascinating ambiguity lies beneath the surface. The idea of the Rebels being little more than militant terrorists, the baddies, in other words, has been explored countless times in think pieces and other media. And even the most recent Star Wars film, Rogue One, has its heroes doing questionable things in the name of freedom. Plus, most people will agree the Jedi are kind of jerks, particularly in the prequels. However, it is rare for a canonical story in the saga to so overtly take the Empire's point of view. In the game, you will apparently visit Iden's homeworld, which the game's makers describe as an imperial utopia and a place where Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine were seen as strong leaders. There's a chance of a genuinely intriguing original narrative unfolding here. That's interesting, but do I not get to play as any famous faces? Actually, you do. While Iden is the driving force for the narrative, DICE has said that your perspective will occasionally shift during the game. You will get to play as Luke Skywalker in an encounter with Iden, while at another point you will apparently play as The Force Awakens antagonist Kylo Ren. This last tidbit is interesting, as it suggests the tale will take place over several years, while it is also a chance to shed more light on the backstory of a fascinating character. As Iden is both a crack commando and elite TIE fighter pilot, you'll be mixing the fizzy first-person shooting the first game did so well with expanded dogfighting sections. In an early section, you whiz through the black above Endor in your custom TIE fighter, blasting rebel X-Wings before flying into an enemy cruiser before descending into the ship on foot. The brilliant tuck-based Criterion games, famous for the Burnout Racing series and the good recent Need for Speed games, are on board to aid development of the vehicle-based combat. While it is something of a departure from straight-up arcade racers, Criterion has previous in the area. The studio made the outstanding X-Wing VR mission add-on for the original game. So we have high hopes that the dogfighting will be a standout portion of Battlefront 2. The excellent Criterion are helping to develop the game's vehicular combat. That certainly seems to be the case following our early impressions of the campaign. It looks superb, the sense of speed is phenomenal, the action never lets up, and while you may be able to sit back and realize, actually, you're not doing that much, it's just really very satisfying to play. The narrative is shaping up to be rather compelling too, with DICE and Lucasfilm working together to make everything that happens in Battlefront 2 canon in the wider Star Wars universe. That's a huge responsibility, says our preview, and means the characters and places and story all have to be on point, rather than your traditional gaming afterthought. From just under an hour with the game, it's safe to say I am more than intrigued by where this is all going. And what about the multiplayer? The intriguing campaign is grabbing the headlines, but the multiplayer is still likely to remain the main selling point for Star Wars Battlefront 2. It looks to be a significant expansion too, as DICE recreate battles from across the entire saga rather than just the original trilogy. You will be able to play as new heroes Darth Maul, Rey and Kylo Ren. In the first game the heroes only popped up occasionally, whereas here it seems they will play a more significant role, with you able to upgrade individual characters as you progress in the multiplayer. Players can take control of Darth Maul in Battlefront 2's multiplayer. Similarly, you will have a lot more choice with your bog-standard soldiers and have a lot more upgrades to unlock. Rather than just rebels or Imperial stormtroopers, you will also be able to play as infantry such as Trade Federation droids from the prequels and First Order troops from the sequels. It's a similar deal with the vehicles, which will both offer more choice and also benefit from Criterion's expert touch. A successful multiplayer beta ran last month, with it proving such a hit that AI extended the test period so more people could dive in. We played it extensively and had some pretty positive impressions of it. The beta was one of the biggest AI has ever done, featuring the following modes and maps. Galactic Assault on Naboo, fighting as either clone troopers or the separatists over the Royal Palace. Strike on Takodana, where First Order troopers you might recognize those from Star Wars The Force Awakens, and Resistance forces battle over Moss Castle. Starfighter Assault above Fonder, where Resistance forces and the Galactic Empire duke it out in space battles, trying to destroy or defend a Star Destroyer. There were also daily challenges running throughout the beta, which will unlock rewards. Anyone that played in the beta will also be rewarded when it comes to the game's full release in November. The Founder's Crate will be given out to anyone who takes part in the beta, and includes bonus credits, an emote for Darth Maul, and a rare Star Trooper card. What's this about loot crates? The main negative reaction to the Battlefront 2 beta was the unseemly use of loot crates, with many players accusing it of running a pay-to-win system as the random boxes house some significant power-ups. Following feedback, however, DICE made some changes and clarifications to how the loot system will work, saying that the most powerful items won't be tucked into the crates. Weapons are also generally not available in crates, and must, instead, be unlocked by playing as a specific class. Play as a heavy class unit, and you will make progress to unlock a weapon for the heavy class. The full list of changes is as follows. Epic Star Cards, the highest tier of star cards available at launch, have been removed from crates, to help keep everyone on a level playing field. These star cards will primarily be available through crafting, with the exception of special Epic Star Cards available through pre-order, deluxe, and starter packs. You'll need to reach a certain rank to craft upgraded star cards. You won't be able to buy a bunch of crates, grind everything up into crafting materials, and immediately use them to get super powerful star cards. You can only upgrade the ability to craft higher-tier star cards by ranking up through playing the game. Weapons are locked behind specific milestones, while a select few will be found in crates. The rest can only be attained by play. Want to unlock a new weapon for your heavy? Play as a heavy and you will gain access to the class new weapons. Class-specific gear and items can be unlocked by playing as them. As you progress through your favorite class, you'll hit milestones granting you class-specific crates. These will include a mix of star cards and crafting parts to benefit your class development. Will there be a season pass for DLC like the last game? No. In a pleasing turn of events, Idol actress Janina Gavankar recently revealed that Star Wars Battlefront 2's post-release content will come as free, themed season updates. The updates will offer new maps, characters, weapons and vehicles. The first release will come as soon as December and will be based on content from The Last Jedi, including heroes Finn and Captain Phasma. There will also be maps based on the locations of the new film Cray in the Skies Above DQAR. Star Wars Battlefront 2 where to buy season passes have become a familiar addition, particularly in multiplayer games, where players can pay a premium to access all the upcoming downloadable content such as maps and game modes. However, this come-one-come-all approach avoids fragmenting the player base, which happened with Battlefront, when some players have all the new maps while other didn't. It wouldn't surprise anyone if paid DLC for Battlefront 2 appeared at some juncture, though it might be we get the option of some lovely single-player content instead. Time will tell, although it will be interesting to see if Star Wars Battlefront 2's plans may signal EA's approach to future DLC with its games. Either way, we look forward to getting stuck into the bait of a game that, in every sense, looks to be a significant expansion over its predecessor.